I want you all, please, to rub your hands together, get some friction going. Put that over your face. Put your hands over your face. Press press your hands gently, gently, your heels of your hands over your eyes and let them relax. Then do that one more time. Get a little bit of friction going, and then just put your hands around your throat and feel the warmth on your neck and feel all of that relaxing. And if you're comfortable doing this, close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. And I hope you have some yummy herb around that you can smell. I've got a little lemon verbena. And I'm going to take you back in time now to summer out in the wilds of West Buncombe County. And the summer was always the time, summer evenings after we had shucked the corn or we had done the beans and it was cool outside and the grown-ups would sit on those metal folding chairs that had the webbing on them. So if you sat on them with shorts, you would get these stripes across the backs of your thighs. So just keep breathing with me and feel the breeze that is promising that fall will come soon. It's a gentle, light breeze. And when you open your eyes, you can see lightning bugs. You can see the stars up above you. And if you're far enough out in the country, you can see the Milky Way. And it's like a beautiful carpet, a magic carpet that can take you from one place to another. It can take you into the future where your descendants will be. And it can also take you back in time to your ancestors. And there you sit in this cool, beautiful place with sparkling light all around you. And in your ears, you are hearing tree frogs making their fun, sweet sounds. And you are hearing the night birds as they sing and make merry. And the other thing you are hearing are the stories of your elders telling you about your ancestors and how they did things and how they grew it and hung it upside down and when it was harvest, whatever it was, and how they would can and the funny story about your great Aunt Mary, and she didn't have the pressure gauge checked on the canner, and one year the whole thing just blew up and put tomato sauce all over the kitchen. So live in that moment that holds you in the love and protection of your ancestors, that holds you in a kind of hammock of time where you are neither in the past nor the future, but you are swinging in the present and you are informed by everything and everyone around you, whether they are physical beings like your parents and your siblings and the dog that is keeps rubbing up against you, or if they are the people that you cannot see, the land spirits and your ancestors, and the song of summer as it moves into fall. And when you are ready, take one more deep breath and open your eyes and return here from that beautiful porch here to sit with your sisters and your friends.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Braverman, and welcome to our podcast, Stories from the Earth, where we explore humankind's relationship and connection with the natural world. This podcast asks the question, what are the many ways in which we can connect with nature in this disconnected society, and how storytelling can help us? We invite you to journey with us as we explore nature through stories. These are the stories from the earth. If you would like to support our podcast, you can do so through our Patreon, and link will be in the description below. Or you can support us by liking this video and subscribing on our YouTube channel, following us on Instagram, or giving us a rating and comment on Apple Podcasts. All right, today we have a special panel. It is our summer panel. So we are all this is our last one. We did all the seasons. So if you listen to this one, you come to the end of it, we have a fall, winter one, and a spring one. All right, so I want to start off by having our amazing panelists introduce themselves. This is our biggest panel so far, and I'm super, super excited. So, Lori, do you want to start?
Sure.
We have two. Oh, we have two Loris. You can start.
Go ahead, Lori. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, my name is Lori Bura. I have a business called Herb Mama. I run a medicinal herb farm. I do a lot of teaching here because I farm in the field and in the woods. I farm medicinal herbs in the woods. Seems to be a hot topic lately, doing a lot of teaching about that. Also have a product line called Herb Mama. And I am the newly elected president of the North Carolina Herb Association. So, or at least in the winter part. Yeah.
Second Lori, we have two Loris.
Hi, I'm Lori Jenkins. I'm the owner of Sister Mother Earth, and I create wild herbs, foods, and honeys, fire ciders. I also do a lot of sharing in the community on kitchen medicine, kitchen witchery. So, yeah.
Hi, I'm Byron Ballard, and I'm a writer and a sometime farmer. I hesitate because this year I've been on the road all summer, so my garden is crap. But in a normal year, I do limited forest farming. I'm still new to that, and I have a big garden. I teach all over the country about Appalachian folkways, so that's my specific interest. And I'm just glad to be here with all you amazing folks. Makes me happy.
Hey, I'm Deanna Rose. I'm an herbalist. I do private consultations for herbalism, and I also tend the lands of Songbird Sanctuary in the gardens, and I'm a singer as well. Happy to be here.
I'm Jeannie with Red Moon Herbs, and I've been at the helm of the ship for about 10 plus years now. I grew up canning and farming, and it's in my blood. All my grandparents were farmers of tobacco and then canned even into their 80s and 90s. So I hope to keep canning a long time and just having fun with putting food by. I love my goats, my cats, and my kids, my two human kids too, Sophia and Sam.
Well, welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. All right, so we're just gonna dive in. We are talking, well, I already mentioned it, but we are talking about the season of summer. Currently, right now, we are actually going into fall, but we are at the tail end of summer. It is still really warm out. Our first question is, and it's really funny when I was writing these questions, I just thought about like a little kid in school coming back to school and writing about their summer vacation with some of these questions. What is this? Anyway, so this is one of them. What does summer mean to you, or describe how summer makes you feel? What are the emotions that embody the season?
I don't look at summer, I guess, in the traditional way. I kind of turn into a hobbit. I want to stay at home. I want to tend to my garden, and I want to stay inside and cook. I do not and preserve and things like that. I don't really enjoy summer. It's not my favorite season at all. Like the last few days, one of my kiddos was so funny. It was really hot, and he was like, summer is so overrated right now. I said, you are exactly right. I mean, the only reason I like it is because my herbs come back and I get to, spend time with them. But that is the only thing. So I just turn into a hobbit. Want to stay home.
Well, I want to piggyback on that and say, I really want to love summer. I want to, because when I was a kid and wasn't in school, I just ran wild and lived in the country so I could be and do anything I wanted to be and do. The reality is, the older I get, the harder heat is on me. And with climate change, it's just getting hotter and hotter. So I find that when I travel, because I teach at festivals, that I'm looking at them now to say, okay, how hot is it going to be in Southern Ohio in July? I mean, what's the average temperature? Because I'm going to be in a campground where there's no AC, so there's not a chance of getting cooled off. You're just going to have to endure it. And as I get older, I don't like the endurance so much. But that being said, I have to agree that what I love about summer is that tomatoes are amazingly delicious in a way that they will never be again this year.
Yes.
The watermelon is something, I mean, we just bought what we believe will be our last watermelon of the season. And there's something very sad about that. So I love the growing. I love the going out and 36 hours after you put the radishes in the ground, they've germinated. I love all of that. But for me, I want to just stay inside with the ceiling fan on and hope for the best.
Yes. Yes.
Not me. I love summer. I live for summer. It is the best. I just, well, the products that I make with the things that I grow. So summer for me is replenishing inventory. And I just love all of the surprises. Like every year, different things come up. And I have the kind of garden where things move around. I have no control. Like I plant things in one place and they show up where they show up. The first year they're where I put them, but after that, it's anybody's guess. And I love the surprises. Like there's always certain weeds that, are better one year than another and make me notice them. The thing that upset me this summer was there were so many fewer pollinators out, and it was kind of freaky. I started noticing it last year. But there's something about being in the sunlight when it's warm that just excites me. I remember being a little kid in my grandmother's gardens, with the sun just coming down and being in the dirt. My mom was always sick and she was in and out of the hospital. So the summer for me was freedom, and it was being in the dirt with the plants, not just the plants, but the fairies and the little beings that would help us in the gardens. And I don't see them a lot in the winter. I see them a lot in the summer. So I have had to make alterations because of the heat and my age. Talk about that later, but I love the summer. It's my favorite.
Yeah, summer has always been my favorite too. I'm kind of a mountain mermaid, so I love swimming season. So if I can go swimming and go into the rivers and the lakes and also just tending the gardens and seeing all the new plants pop up. But as I have been growing up, I have been having to work a lot more in the summer, so I haven't gotten to play as much. So there's been moments of just remembering that remembering that joy, remembering that time to make sure I take time for swimming and play into the summer, because that helps me get out of the chaos of fast-paced work. So, but I've always just loved flowers too, and just making bouquets in the summers too.
I love the summer for the bursting forth of everything. I let the garden go. I let my yard go to just see what pollinators would come this year. And there's aster family plants and, just a bunch of weeds. And there's even one of those grasses that's kind of exotic, invasive. The goats like it, so I've been trying to pull it. But, I kind of just let it go because being able to try to just maintain the business stuff I have going on, and production kind of picks up too. like roots pick up in winter, but right now all our beautiful flowering plants are, it's coming towards the end of it. But sometimes we're like, for instance, St. John's European, the Hypericum perforatum didn't do very well for some of our farmers. Our own garden put off some, but we weren't prepared for so many crop failures. I'm scrambling around trying to find the forest one. And then everybody's telling me, well, the forest one didn't do very well either. And that's the one that just gives you that blood-like color that's got a little tinge of pink in it, the Hypericum punctatum. But for me, just like seeking, like you be in the heat and, you get a little burnt and then just go into the forest near a creek. That's summer for me to try to, that's my cold plunge for the summer, to get in the forest and put my feet in the creek and hunt for punctatum too. But I miss the window. They're all going to seed now. So yeah. It's like morels almost this year. Like they're so scattered, few and far between.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, like I feel like it's both two things. Like summer's never been my favorite season, and as I've gotten older, I've liked it more. But for me, I have a hard time with like the wet heat, and it's so much easier with like a dry heat. So like I can do the sauna and it's very hot. So what do you do in the summer that you don't do in the rest of the year? And did anyone go on any summer adventures this year?
Well, I preserve a lot more during this time of year, obviously, and I make a lot more medicine this time of year. I feel like during the winter and late fall, winter, it's just all about tea. It's all about herbal tea because I've already made all my medicine and I just, kind of enjoy tending my hearth that I don't get to do typically in the summertime. And I always seem to pick up my crochet during the winter months, and I don't ever pick them up in the summertime. It's like it just collects dust. And then, when fall and winter comes, it's like, oh, you remembered me. So, yeah.
I'm laughing because I posted on social media a couple of days ago. It's finally cool enough in the evenings to knit again.
True. That is so true.
And as soon as it gets really cool, then I can spin all this wool that I need to spin. Mm-hmm. But yeah, in the summer, I don't do any of that. It just feels it's too hot to work with wool and heavy cotton. Yeah, I think the thing that is different for me in the summer, because obviously I'm ambivalent about it, it's the making medicine, just like Lori said, which is so dear to me. And I made some medicines the other day. I finally harvested some elderberries, though I don't really need any elderberry tincture right now. But those lovely fat heads were bending down, and the berries were exactly that perfect roundness where in another day they would start to lose all the juice. And so I brought them in and I did 1 quart of elderberry tincture. And it does, even if nobody got that medicine or used that medicine, or even if that medicine didn't work, it does its job on my heart. To be able to take those beautiful, gorgeous berries. And I use Appalachian Heritage alcohol to tincture with. So it kind of brings together all the things that I am. But for me, what the summer is about is lightning bugs. And it's about walking out in the backyard because we have too much light pollution in the front, and watching the mating call of all these tiny insects as they blink off and on, off and on. That does something for me that almost nothing else in the year does. The only thing that is close to that is the winter sky when it's so clear and perfect and you can see everything.
The thing that I love about the summer is just like listening, and different plants call me at different times, but the summers when they talk to me. I am so busy. Even now, I'm still harvesting. But in the winter, they're not up. I don't talk to roots. I did a meditation one winter with friends drumming around me, and there was so much buzz under the ground. I was shocked how much was going on. But they don't talk to me. In the summer, they're all talking to me. What do they want? Or just they want some attention. They need some grooming. They just want me to sit there. They want some hair, different kinds of things that don't happen other times in the year. Um, I'm so busy and I love it, and then I really do a lot of planning because I'm teaching more and more off of here where I have to like travel to go places. So I have to plan accordingly, and that's not always possible because just like my children, the plants don't listen when I'm not available. Like they want what they want when they want it. It doesn't matter what mom's up to, but no, I just honestly, I basically spend the year planning for the summer. The thing that I really can't stand, and I know I'm a minority, when those leaves start turning, I just think, crap, it's going to be cold. I used to live in Buffalo, and I don't like being cold. And we burn wood for heat, so as long as I have the wood ready. Also, I know when the leaves are turning, there's going to be a frost. And the day after the frost is my busiest day of the year because that's when I harvest all my root plants. And then, like I said, I do a lot of woodland stuff. So that's when I go in there. Even though September is ginseng season, I don't harvest it yet. I wait until the energy falls completely into those roots. People will come out to the farm. Lots of young people will come here, for a day or two. They'll come camping and they'll work with me. I get some help. I just think it's awesome. I was in Arizona this winter for the second time, and I really didn't notice a big difference with dry heat. 100 degrees at 11 o'clock. It's pretty darn hot. I'm sorry. I don't care if it's dry or wet. It's too hot to be outside. I can manage 90 here, but I don't understand how. I mean, when I was in Arizona, I felt like I was on a Star Trek set. The plants were just so different for me. And I couldn't hear them the same, but anyway, summer for me. Yes.
Okay. I'm going to just skip down and ask this question so we get it out of our system. Cause I know y'all have been talking about it, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the plants. So, you already have been talking about them, but, what are your favorite plants that start coming out in the summer? Why are they your favorites? How do you use them? They can be medicinal, vegetable, or general ideas on the plants that we start to see this time of year. So what do we start to see in summer? And you can have more than one favorite.
Okay, I'll go.
Yeah.
So, I have 4.
Okay. Yeah. No, more than one is fine.
Lemon balm, because it just makes me happy. Because I know, as much as I don't like summer, when my lemon balm is like super, super green, I know that the warmer months are coming, and we always like that period of being cold for so long and going into a little warmer days. So Bieltana is my favorite time of the year if we're going to talk about warm times. But that's when lemon balm is it's opening the door to summer. And then sage, just because I have tons of sage in my garden and I love to cook with sage, make medicine with sage, do magic with sage. I love sage. And obviously mugwort. We have a really special place in Marshall, which is nearby our house, called Blanahasset Island. And mugwort has kind of just taken over. And we were there yesterday, and it's just magical being amongst mugwort and watch it grow through the season. We use it for just about everything in our household. Last but not least, she is my absolute favorite, goldenrod. When goldenrod comes out, I know fall is like right around the door and the chestnuts are about to drop. So that is like the time for me. But we use goldenrod in just about everything. I cook with it. We make medicine with it. I make vinegars and cough syrups for the winter. I do all kind of stuff with goldenrod. I just feel like she is queen. And, you know, the bees absolutely love her because she is one of the last to bloom in the summer. And, you know, they usually are at that dearth period where there's not a lot of things blooming anymore like it was in the beginning of the summer. So it's like a frenzy, this happy, oh my gosh, I just love this flower frenzy when they are around goldenrod. And you just can't help but feel that energy. And it's almost like it puts a pep in your step for the next turn of the wheel. So that is definitely the gate opening for the next season.
I have a spot right outside my garden that's pretty big that I just let go. And if I were to pick it, there'd probably be like 100 pounds of goldenrod.
Oh, wow.
And it's just there. It just hangs out. Just to be there for the pollinators.
Mm.
My favorite changes every year. This year, my early favorite was meadowsweet. And somebody gave me this plant like 10 years ago, didn't know what it was. I never paid attention to it till this year. It was taller than me. It smelled so beautiful. I just would sit there, you know, just smelling it made me feel better. Then I started to investigate, and it's got so many great properties. It's really, really good for inflammation. It's good for your stomach and digestion. Right here, I made a list. Although I can't read with my glasses, can't see without them. What else? Oh, yeah, the tannins were for inflammation. Phlegm, really good for phlegm. Oh, I'm sorry. I gotta go.
Okay.
My cousin's sick and they're calling. Sorry.
Okay.
Well, I'll say something while she's taking the call. I love, like, as the colors shift, you know, the Red Moon Garden in Candler at the base of Pisgah Mountain. It's starting to get really full, and some of the things are annuals. I don't get as excited about those, even though they're more showy. My dad has saved the seed off a man named Charlie Waddell, and he only grows these one tomatoes. And at other places, I've given the tomato plants away that my dad starts from seed every year. And the deer got them out in Leicester at Big Sandy Mush. And at my house, I bottom rot. And then at work, they're just lush. So I'm very excited that the deer and the critters and the bottom rots have not taken over those tomatoes. So I'm looking forward to, you know, processing some sauce. But it's just lovely to see them go from green to kind of yellow to red, in contrast to a bunch of flowers at work, like calendula, California poppy. Oh, the passion flower was gorgeous this year, and Vitex is blooming. The elder are out of control. They're drooping, like what Byron was saying. It's like we're just, you know, most people in North America get a lot of their dried elder from Eastern Europe because there's not enough processors. But this year we're attempting to do a little more dehydration because the birds didn't hit them so hard. Now down east they did. The birds took them out early.
Can I say something to what Jeannie's talking about real quick? I tried something different this year, and it seemed to work really well. When you cut the elder berries, like, you know, cut off the whole head, I froze the whole head. So when I went to take off the berry, they just kind of pop off.
Ooh.
So it seemed to be, I've never tried that. And I saw it somewhere and I thought, you know what, I'm going to try that and see, because, you know, it takes forever. I just thought I'd say that since you were talking about elderberry. Like I had a tray, just froze the whole tray with them still attached to the head. And then they just kind of pop off, you know, when they're frozen.
Great.
And then
we sat around with buckets, you know, and everybody's got purple, 10 purple hands, you know. It's kind of a nice, kind of like the quilting quilting circles or canning circles or shucking corn. It's kind of nice to do it, but I'm gonna try that too. I'd rather not have such purple fingers.
Well, it's hard to
I do that. I freeze them because I get too many at once and I can't deal with them all. So I just stick them in the freezer. I don't process them. I just stick them in. Deal with them later.
Do you need to like let them defrost before you turn them into a medicine, or you just go ahead and process them into medicine?
Usually when I'm making medicine, I'm doing something warm with it anyway. I have
Okay.
a special medicine crock pot that doesn't get too hot. So I let them sit out a little bit and then I stick them in there.
When you have the frozen berries, they tend to like absorb a little more water, we've noticed. So a higher proof of alcohol, if you are doing an alcohol extract, is better.
Mm-hmm.
They tend to take the to take it to almost a non-shelf stable rate. We've had some real low numbers come back with fresh frozen berries versus just fresh berry.
Yeah, we put the frozen berries in the water extraction because it seems to do better, and then we use the dried for the alcohol.
Okay.
Just because you want that control over the moisture, like Jeannie's talking about, shelf stability, because you want it to stay above 25%. So, when you add other moisture that you have no control over, you don't know how much water's in that berry. You really need to be using things that are dry.
Another reason not to harvest on a wet day or even a dewy morning, because it does let that dew burn off or that fog.
Yeah.
Even though it's great to walk in the fog in the morning, these cooler mornings have been really beautiful.
They really have.
Okay, how many people? How many of y'all counted? I mean, did you count your foggy mornings in August?
I've stopped doing. No. I've stopped doing that. It's not been accurate for the past 4 years.
Yeah, the 4 years have been actually 3 years ago. It was pretty accurate, but the last 2 years, nothing. I mean, it hasn't even come close. But I didn't even
bother to count this year.
I did count 9 on my end, but I will say this because we're big weather people. We are in an El Nino year, and El Nino always brings a lot of nor'easters. And we're due for some winter weather. So I'm really kind of hoping this is it.
So I've been following the weather here. I guess this is our 15th year. And I have noticed that more of the weather is coming from the Gulf. When I got here, I would say maybe 5% of the weather. Yeah. And I would say now close to 20% of it. And that's the intense precipitations, the 7 inches of rain in a weekend.
Yeah.
Just because I have this big window and I just follow it. But we have foggy mornings every morning in the valley. So, it's always been like that. Once we have cool nights and warm days, it's always in the fog until about 9.
So what is the deal with the foggy mornings for those of us who don't know?
Well, for every foggy morning, that's supposed to be the snow total, snow. A couple of years ago, we had stopped counting because we had so many, and we had about 12 snows. Now, were they big ones? No, only a couple of them were. Yeah, but the last 2 years, especially last year, we didn't really get any measurable snow at our house, which is very unusual.
We got that vicious cold spell around the winter solstice.
Yep. Yeah. So they keep talking about it. We keep looking at all the different NOAA maps and all the predictions. But I do feel like this winter we're due. Granted, I don't feel like the trees are telling us we're going to have a big winter. But last year there were lots and lots and lots of nuts, and we did not have a great winter. So I don't really know. Everything's so messed up with climate change that we're not communicating like we normally do. You know what I'm saying? With the plant world, they don't know what's going on. We don't either. So we'll see. We'll see.
We always looked at the squirrels, and we could kind of tell by how much fur they were putting on for the winter.
Yeah.
And that was how I always looked at it. But I don't know if that would be the same here as up north.
The persimmon and the spoon and, the knife, like the spoon you're going to dig yourself out of snow. I mean, we've been cutting those for fun since the field was little. My dad, he has a really prolific. My dad and mom have a real prolific persimmon tree, but it's not been predictable at all.
Nope.
It's been spoons galore,
Yeah.
but no spooning the snow out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
So-
blue vervain. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
We added that to a formula called Take It Down a Notch. But we were coming up with different names. But blue vervain was so beautiful this year. Now the powdery mildew will get on the leaf matter, but it's
Not
just
this
like
year.
electric blue and purple.
Wow.
Just spikes. It's so like protective. It's so many things. I mean, it's good for breastfeeding moms and abdominal pain, kind of like what Lori was saying earlier about her plant. But it's just so calming when you've had you're about to become a nervous wreck. I feel like blue vervain, and thank you to Melissa Fryer, one of my teachers in herb school, who loves blue vervain and got me kind of loving it too. So I got it outside my door. There's a little rue in the garden for magic too. I can't keep a rosemary or lavender alive, but got a little rue, got a little sage, got a little blue vervain.
Well, I fell in love with blue vervain this year too. I don't know, for so many years I never took it, but this year I was experiencing like high levels of stress, so I started taking blue vervain, and it's been such a lovely medicine to get to know. It's fun after all these years, like being able to get to know a new plant, and so I'm really excited about blue vervain, and I've been telling everybody else to try it too, and so that's exciting. I haven't grown it much, so I'm looking forward to tending to it and getting to know the plant as well. So
it reseeds really easily, and then it'll pop up somewhere else in your garden. That's been true for me anyway. As it'll be in the backyard, then it's in the front yard, and then side yard. Yeah, I use Verbena hastata. That's the vervain I use. And the thing that I love to be able to add to an herbalism conversation is that blue vervain, well, all the vervains are, in European folklore, they are weather herbs. So if you want to call a storm, you use vervain. If you want to keep a storm away, use vervain. And because of that, a lot of us have been playing around with what is it about vervain that does that. There are some wonderful spells out of Cornwall for calling in storms, because Cornwall, after the tin mines and copper mines ran out, the people along the coast were given the right of salvage for any wrecks that happened on the coast. And the Cornish people are very canny, so they thought, well, if it's wrecks, then so they developed this intense weather magic to call storms, and inevitably has to do with vervain. But what we've also found about vervain is that if you are, as we as a culture are right now, dealing with a grief cycle, it's a wonderful aid for heartbreak and grief. So if you or someone you love is tending a broken heart, vervain is absolutely your ally in that. I have 4, so vervain was one. The first 2 are just flowers. I love flowering tobacco, and part of it's because I'm from here, and I don't grow tobacco anymore. My family doesn't grow tobacco. But flowering tobacco is so mysterious because it opens at night. It's a night blooming plant, and the scent is just intoxicating. So we have that planted by our front steps so that we get to smell it coming in and out at night. And I'm a sucker for nasturtiums. And nasturtiums are wonderful medicine. They're delicious to eat, but I love them because they're just so beautiful. And they're so bright and happy. And I love them. My happy time in the spring is going out literally with pockets full of nasturtium seeds and pushing them into the ground anywhere I can. And then they're just there. And then they've started reseeding, which is really lovely. But another plant that I'm just going to say I'm in love with it, and it's rabbit tobacco. Rabbit tobacco, Pseudonephalium obtusifolium. It had appeared everywhere this year. And I use it as a medicine. I use it magically. I love the smell of it. I love the way it looks. It's kind of spindly and witchy looking. And then it has the sweet, everlasting flowers on it. So I'm a big fan of rabbit tobacco. And yeah, we smoked it when we were kids. We did not get high.
Well, I was going to say, sorry, I got interrupted before. Another plant this year that called me, and it's blue. It's got the berries now. Are these sumac berries?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had a gathering here this weekend. I have a lot of new neighbors. Like in the last 5 years, all of my neighbors are different. It's really weird. Like all of the old timers are gone for different reasons. And I looked at those trees and I was like, Rich, do we have a ladder? So I climbed up and I picked a bunch, and I was like giving them out to the neighbors. Like, well, how do you make iced tea? I go, it's really, really hard. You pour water over it. Just a little bit of honey if you want. It's a little bit bitter without the honey. And people were like, just, grabbing buds. It was so fun. Plus it was something to do, and it helped the people understand like what I'm doing and how it's food and medicine both. They were kind of interested. What the purpose of the weekend was to get them to see what I'm doing, because down the street from me is the Pisgah View Ranch, which the state just bought about a month ago, and it's going to be a park. And so I'm going to put a big sign on the driveway and pull some tourists in. So I figured let them fall in love with my place before they see how many more cars are going to come down the driveway. So sumac berries, that's a new one for me. I always had sold them, and this year the person I sold them to had their own. They didn't need them. So I was like, let's go check out sumac berries. I don't know any medicinal qualities to them yet, but I'm probably going to make some salts and things, play with it. Since we got some tonnage here.
Yeah. And you can make, like you said, they'll do the lemonade. They're tart.
Even the kids from the neighborhood love the iced tea.
Well, today I harvested holy basil, which I was really excited about. That's just been a big ally for me regularly. And another favorite for me at the beginning of summer is reishi mushroom, one of my favorite all-time things to harvest. I have a certain spot, and it's fun to always do the pilgrimage out there every year, and I tend to just harvest enough. And this year I got to bring out 2 teenagers with me to do the harvest, and it was just so fun to we drank the tea beforehand, so we would get in tune with the plant and with the mushroom, and we just kind of adventured. And it was fun to teach them about harvesting sustainably and how to leave some behind, and it was just a really special time. And I also, of course, love roses, and so I love harvesting roses. And this year I tried a new medicine with roses. I harvested wild rose and cultivated rose and made a tincture out of it to try to create some type of balance with the nurturing the wild rose within yourself, as well as the domestic loving, tending the home and tending the lands, but also nurturing your wild kind of expressive side. And so I've been really loving that balance. And I made it in brandy, kind of also to nurture my heart and also nurture others' hearts. And that's been a really fun new blend I've been trying. And just kind of tending that balance within each of us. And we always, there's a lot of bad talk around multiflora rose and wild rose, but just making sure we remember to make medicine with the wild roses too, and remembering to tend to our wild selves too. And also the rose plant on the land here had stopped blooming for a month and a half, and I was like, please, can you just bloom one more time, please? And she bloomed last week, so that was really she came back.
That's cool.
But yeah.
We have one rose hip at work. One. Like it's a nice size like this. We're just watching it shrivel right now. But we planted Rosa rugosa because sometimes it was challenging. We were thinking we could kind of control the cultivation, but it's a little challenge to find multiflora rose in the right place. Or
Mhm.
find enough rose hips, so use a little bit and bitters. I'm frustrated with multiflora rose just because it chokes out some of my beloved woodland medicinals. That's that balance you were talking about, right, Deanna? Where it's a little wild and it's a little cultivating. They kind of fight each other sometimes, and also our inner wild and inner calm down and be domestic in these things too, right?
Yeah, and I've been doing that, trying to remember about the benefits of the certain invasive species and trying to promote that, so that just as there's so much new love or expanded love for foraging, how about we promote the foraging of endangered species rather than spraying them? And so that's what I've been a big intention of mine, is just like teaching about the benefits of benefits of invasive species,
Mm-hmm.
so that they can become more harvestable and more loved, and so that creates more balance, because there is a lot to harvest out there. And so with our foraging teachings, how about we expand with teaching about the benefits and why are they here? Why are they so abundant? And I believe Americans need these medicines, these species. And so how can we make them popular so that we can get help harvesting them? That's a big mission of mine, just to expand that and not be like, stop harvesting, stop foraging. How about we'll just start foraging the invasive species?
Yeah.
That was like the big thing behind my business when I started, because at the time I was taking Chestnut School of Herbal Medicine's first foraging course. Had been a part of the intensive, but they took it out, and someone could just sign up for the foraging course because it was huge. It's a huge part of what they offer, and start taking that because it's a year-long course. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's all I want to work with. And to be honest, that's what I work with. I just work with the invasive species and just, kind of add them into my foods and my products, and get people eating them more, because they're everywhere. And not that, I go and decimate a spot. I don't do that. Over the years, I've worked with farms and stuff like that, because a lot of these invasives pop up in farms because they love that disturbed soil. So it's like they just, these farmers are like, please come take this stuff away. Typically when I'm teaching a class, I'll say I can't teach you foraging because I don't know the herbs that I don't work with. I know a lot of herbs, but I don't work with them all. And I just work with, these 15, 20 herbs, and I can show you those all day. It is important for people to recognize that there's so much food just right outside your door, and you need to go eat it, and you need to process it. It's just like preserving your harvest out of your garden. Ryan and I my oldest child, we went out to place that we love nearby, and there was so much huge dandelion, and I'm like, okay, in about another month, let's come out here and harvest some of this, and put it up for my business, for us, the leaf, whatever we can take, and put it up. But people have just gotten out of that preservation mode, because I don't know if any of y'all follow Linda Elk. I can't remember her whole name.
Black Elk?
Yes, Linda Black Elk. Okay, so she did this whole thing a month ago about preserving. Everyone should be preserving something every day. Every single day, you should be preserving something. And I have this little teeny dehydrator that I love so very much. So like anytime I have greens that we just can't eat up enough, or they're starting to go bad, I'll pop them in that dehydrator, and grind them up. Tomatoes, whatever I can put up. Herbs can be the same way. White pine right now, put that in a grocery bag, a paper grocery bag, shake it every few days, and it'll be dry and ready for teas. preserve something every day, and especially those invasives that are abundant, just like goldenrod. Once it kind of starts popping its little flowers, harvest it, dry it, and add it to your cornmeal and make your cornbread and your breads.
Nice and golden.
Yeah, let it be filler, so you don't use so much flour. You can use some of that goldenrod as your flour. It's just people need to try and experiment more. But you're right. I agree. People are not focusing on those invasives, which are incredibly nutritious and, very nourishing for our bodies. And they're abundant. Mama Earth just gives them to us.
That's really inspiring, Lori. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I'm trying.
I love the ones that you can just kind of go along, like the goldenrod is so generous, and the mugwort, and you can kind of just like that's a great policy. Like just like Frank Cook said, eat something wild every day.
Yeah.
Well, what you're saying, put something wild away or preserve it. But I love the ones you can take a bundle, turn it upside down, and just let it hang and dry with a fan.
Yeah.
Or in the kitchen, and I'm always inspired by the herbalist or the gardener that, you walk in and everything's a little chaotic and there's 20 species of herbs all the way. Yeah.
Yes.
It's the best kitchen.
I know we've been harvesting all our herbs from the garden and like going out to the island and picking. So everywhere we can hang something, it's hanging.
I saw it was on Instagram and they made a whole ceiling of dried, I forget what plant it was, but they put up like a chicken wire. They put up like they put up some sort of frame in the kitchen, and the whole ceiling is full of these. It was a medicinal herb, and I was just like, yeah, I want to do that. When I get a house that I can mess with.
I have a really funny story to tell really quick. So I used to teach piano years and years and years ago. I had a little studio, and I would always have my herbs hanging everywhere. And there was a family, and it was 3 children, and I would teach all 3 of them, but they would, come in stages. So they would have to sit upstairs and wait till their turn. Well, I had all these herbs hanging everywhere. And the little boy, he was probably maybe 6 or 7. He looked at his mom and he was like, "Does a witch live here?" She's like, "Yes."
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm sorry if I interrupted anybody.
No, that was perfect.
Lori, I was going to ask her, talk about your bundles you did at Wild Herb Weekend, where you can just kind of like pick from it, because that's even better when somebody goes and harvests multiple things together or bundles them.
I know, like rosemary is really good to create like as a base for a circle, or like a stem to hold, but you can make like herb bundles and hang them in your kitchen and just snip from them. And we actually put them up in paper bags where the open part is on the bottom so that they don't get super dusty, because that can happen in a kitchen. So you can just kind of clip whatever herbs off that you want to do. You can make tea bundles like that. You can make cooking bundles like that. And that way, if you're really short on space, and don't have a lot of room to put jars and, you can do that. Hang them, at your window or somewhere in your kitchen and just clip from them when you need some herbs.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to have the kudzu culture on, so we are going to be interviewing them. Speaking of invasives, that'll be our January, our January interview.
Oh, that'd be good.
On the podcast. Do you have any rituals or holidays that you celebrate this time of year? And if so, what are they, and why is it important that you observe them?
Well, we consider the beginning of August, end of July, the first harvest. It's a celebration of the first harvest. And from the Anglo-Saxon tradition, it's called Lammas. But in the more Irish-based tradition, it's called Lunasa. And it honors Lunasaw honors the work of the goddess Tal Shu, who cleared the land of Ulster so that they could plant crops. And the way it was traditionally celebrated, which not a lot of people celebrate it this way now, is that all of the tribes of Ireland would come together in the center of the country in the county that's called Meath, Meath. And they would have games of skill, and they would show off their handiwork and their weaving. And there was a time when people would marry from different cultural groups. And I just love the idea that in the Harvest Festival, and that's the first one in my tradition, the second one happens at the autumnal equinox, and the third at Samhain. But what harvest time as a celebration gives to us is a time where we have plenty and we invite people in.
Mhm.
And I think that hospitality is the very basic and the very earliest spiritual law, is that you welcome the stranger, you feed the stranger, you make sure they have water and all that stuff. And so harvest for me always is a time when you begin to invite people in after the hard work of the summer season. So that's the reason I love it. And either of those, Lammas is a corruption of loaf mass, and it's often celebrated with the baking of bread, and sometimes the bread is in human shapes. And it's also a time for making beer. So it's a wonderful, prolific set of holidays that I really love.
Yeah, we're the same way. We celebrate the seasons as a family. Typically, around the winter solstice, we draw names, and that's who gets the holiday, and they kind of do all the planning.
Mhm.
Typically, if it's my younger child who's 19, if he gets a holiday, I tend to have to help him. But we always cook a big meal. We always bake bread, no matter what the holiday is. And we really focus on what we've been harvesting. We always do a family ritual. It always includes fire, no matter what season it is. We really focus on, spending time with our ancestors, which we've tried as a family to do this year, focus on where we are, where we came from. And in fact, this year, we're all going to take the DNA test so that we can kind of see where each of us are from and what we're made of, which we're pretty excited. We're going to open it up at winter solstice. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm pretty positive my Northern European is going to shine right through. But it'll be interesting to see what they have had passed on to them. But we do try to do everything as a family. We're a pretty strong unit, and we do all of our work together. And at each different festival or season change or turn of the wheel, we try to use that energy for the good of us and the good of those that we love. So we try to focus on what is at hand right now and use that in our ritual, in our family doings.
Okay, I was gonna say, in the years past, and it's something I really am trying to let go of whatever expectations I have more for my kids, or when I was with a partner or not and single. But one thing that is sweet is that my parents are in their 80s, and my mom suffered some issues around on Christmas Day, actually. And so I've been going down a lot, but it's been really nice that I get to relive those traditions from my childhood and young adulthood of putting corn by or shucking together and these things, and just watching. My dad's kind of a bean counter, and he this year was not a great year for okra for him, but each day he would count, and some years he's gone as high as like 400 pods a day or something, or 500. This year it was more like
Whoa.
70. I got 70 today. I got 80 to yesterday, and fun to see how the harvest comes in very slowly, small numbers, rises up, peaks, and then falls again. So that's kind of a nice little thing to watch and witness. And then as far as rituals go, I love taking so many things in our kitchen that some we've grown, like I know Lori Burrow was speaking on the sumac. I love sumac and fire cider, but fall is my favorite time. I so appreciate the summer gifts of the harvest to get to fall autumnal equinox, where I like to make fire cider that time of year for personal use or with friends.
Mhm.
And then the other time is winter, and that it's ready it in bulk or make it in bulk, and that lingering thing that you sometimes get a little cough. Basically any season is good fire cider making, but there's something about when the fall and winter gets here, it's even more special. We need that medicine from like ginger and onion and garlic, and all these harvests are coming in. These plants are dying back, and we can take those roots and use them with some of the dried aromatic herbs too. That's my favorite ritual. Pre-COVID, right before COVID happened, we did an in bulk 2020, and then things shut down. And I invited a lot of people thinking, oh, only a fourth of the people will come. And we just got in this house in 2020, early 2020. And I think 60 to 80 people were here. And now we were all making fire cider, but it was like I am so glad I did that. I didn't know things were going to shut down and it was going to turn to silence after that until now. So I'm ready for another fire cider making around one of the holidays.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Fall equinox. That's it. It's coming up. Let's do it.
Coming up.
September 20th, 21st.
I came back from Chicago a couple of weeks ago and I had a dry, sore throat and I didn't feel great. And I finished off the last of my fire cider. So I'm really looking forward to making fire cider. I'm waiting for the moon to change. I don't want to do it as we have a waning moon. I want to wait till it's waxing. But I'm going to do fire cider this week sometime.
Mhm.
I absolutely am, because I can't be without it. It's too important.
Good stuff.
Can or have you heard of anyone making fire cider without vinegar? Because I can't have vinegar.
Somebody else was talking about that fairly recently, and I can't remember what the finish of it was. So I'm sorry, I don't remember.
You know what? You should do garlic honey with some ginger in it, with some onion in it.
Yeah.
Because it will turn into a liquid. Leave it in your fridge, but it will turn into a liquid. And you can use it just like fire cider. Add a little cayenne. It would be great. Mm-hmm.
I I did a garlic honey when in 2020, and I still have it. So okay, and then ginger honey.
Yeah, just add all of those things.
Yeah.
You could even, if you've got a little horseradish powder, you could add it to your honey and just add all those ingredients: ginger, onions, garlic, because it's going to turn liquidy. So you can kind of drink it like a syrup if you wanted to. Add it to the water or tea. Mm-hmm.
Nice. That
sounds great.
Yeah. No vinegar involved.
Awesome.
But even onion and honey is really, really good. And just put all those things together in your jar. Just keep it in the fridge.
In the fridge, because of the.
I tell every one of my classes, I always say fresh equals refrigeration. Period. I mean, like for years, I made fire cider and left it out on my counter with the fresh ingredients. But then when I started doing this as a business and looking at the requirements, what is shelf stable, what is not, it's kind of scary. So I'm like, put it in the fridge. So, yeah.
I usually just strain it.
Mm-hmm. And then keep it in the fridge always. Mm-hmm. Yep. Because it's just the same concept that we were talking about a little while ago with elderberry. When you add all these fresh ingredients into vinegar, you're adding water and you're changing the pH of it and you're changing, the shelf stability of it. So you've got to put it in the fridge to keep it safe.
I'll have to try that.
Yeah.
That's going to be one spicy honey. You can add some turmeric in there too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
There's your fire cider.
There's my fire cider right there.
We're ready.
Jennifer's fire cider.
Fire honey.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I made a bone broth recently, and I got a chicken from the farmer's market, and then after we ate the chicken, I made a bone broth, and I added reishi mushroom while making it, and also onions and other things. And gosh, it turned out amazing. I just remembered to, just like to add that reishi into the onions, and I did some like lemon peel and orange peel, and because I wasn't feeling well last week, it got me better really quick.
Yeah.
Just like kind of remembering also that you can, I don't know, can you do bone broths? You can also kind of just make like a fresh thing with onions and stuff like that if you want to drink it too.
Well, there's a whole thing about the onion. You put it on your on your chest or something.
It's drawing.
Drawing. Yeah. Yeah.
Or just setting half an onion in the room when you've got a cold. I don't know if y'all did that. It's like your parents or grandparents did it. Kind of draw the sickness into the onion, or just the vaporizing. Just the smells from the onion probably help too.
Yeah, definitely. Welcome back, Lori.
Hey, sorry about that.
That's all right. The question is, do you have any rituals or holidays that you celebrate this time of year?
No.
No.
Well, I mean, Rosh Hashanah is coming up. So I do try to think about the year. Not very religious about it. Just think about, put the year in perspective and journal a bit.
That counts.
I write down some things, stick it in the float down the water. Send it to the beaver dam down the road, down the creek. I love it. I like that about the onions. That's funny.
Yeah.
We always did lots of garlic. So, as an aside, my grandfather was the first person in America to have a lung removed and live.
Oh, wow.
And what the doctors didn't know is that my grandmother kept feeding him garlic tincture.
Oh, okay.
She never told them. She did it when nobody was looking.
Was it a alcohol base or a vinegar base? Do you know?
Oh, she just would plop it in the vodka and then give him shots of vodka. She didn't even take the garlic out.
Okay, I'm a fan of vodka.
So this was 27, 37, 38, 39, around 1940.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
This was about 1940, 41, something like that. So she had two solutions to everything. It was either chamomile or garlic.
Nice.
Or just go work in the dirt.
Yeah.
No. Oh, rituals. Yeah, we do one thing out here. We have Mushroom Day, where a lot of the young people who come throughout the summer, I'll send out a note, it's today, and we hang out in the garden and do mushrooms.
Oh, that kind of mushroom.
Yeah.
Throw it right out
It's a
there.
good ritual.
That's our ritual.
I want to come.
Well, I mean, it's such a great time to, a great headspace to be in with the plants, So I wait till my teaching season is done for that. So it's usually by the middle of August I'm done. Except for my Zoom classes. But yeah, Mushroom Day here is fun.
Nice.
By the way, I looked at your questions. I do not read in the summer.
Oh.
If it's not a recipe for something or what a plant does or a disease, all my reading is in the winter. I do listen to podcasts, but I don't even have music on in the garden. It's me singing. One of the nice things, though, about this summer was weird with the lack of rain. Mm-hmm. So I had a little bit of hemp this year, and I didn't have to deal with the mold. The dahlias or the hemp. There was, normally I am busy with my probiotic, and I spray the undersides of the leaves because it takes up the space where the mold would come in.
Huh.
So it just keeps, keeps the plants clean. Nothing this year. Last week it rained from Sunday afternoon till the middle of the night Wednesday with hardly a break in it. And there was a little bit of some of the hemp had some rot in it from that. But I would say like less than 5%. So I haven't had to go probiotic crazy, which is okay because I can keep the cultures alive over the winter for next year. So that was kind of nice. One of the other things that I do in the summer that I just realized I don't do it any other time of the year. I have a linden tree. I garden in concentric circles. And in the middle part, the hanging out part, is this linden tree. And I learned about linden trees from Juliet de Barclay-Levy. Rosemary Gladstar used to bring her over to the Northeast Women's Herbal Conference, and she would sit and tell stories. So if you look at the leaf on a linden tree, it looks like a heart. And the folklore is that when your heart is heavy, you sit with the linden tree, it raises your spirits. I go and I sit with the linden tree, and I send my cord down. There's like a rock in the sense, somewhere deep in the earth. I don't even know where it is, but my energy knows how to find it, and I wrap my cord around it, and then I spiral up the energy from the earth, and I run through. I spend time in each chakra, and then when it comes to my higher self, I ask my higher self to send it up and out. I don't know where it goes, but send it where it needs to be. You know where it goes. And by the time I do that, when I breathe out, I spiral down. When I breathe in, I spiral up. And I just sit in that space. I don't do it in the winter. I wonder why not. Maybe, I don't know. I'll have to do it this winter. And other people have come and told me I opened a vortex from doing that for like 10 years. That's something, I guess you could call that a ritual. But that's where I'll get a lot of my instructions for the day, what to do that day in the garden. And it's funny because when my older daughter was here helping me, she came out of the restaurant business, and like they have certain things that they know when you come in every day, this is what you do. And it drove her crazy because I couldn't tell her what we were doing that day. I said, I have to get my instruction, and come out later than me, and then I'll tell you what we're doing. And now it's like 5 years later, and when people come here to work, she goes, wait, she's still meditating. She'll tell us what we're going to do. She doesn't know yet. It's really kind of neat. She's gotten to that point of being there with me. Did you talk about self-care yet?
Not yet. I was waiting for you because that's the question you added. Here's Lori's question. It's a very awesome one. What do you do for self-care during this busy time of year? Because a lot of us are herbalists and the plants are going crazy. Yeah, Lori, did you want to start?
So I had to shift what I was doing. 2 reasons. One is, my age, getting older. I can't do as much as I could before. So I have to kind of plan differently. And then the heat. I didn't realize why I was throwing up in the afternoon or why I was sweating for 3 hours and couldn't stop sweating until I researched and I realized that it was the heat. Because I get lost. If I'm in the garden, I'm in a different zone. I mean, if you talk to me, I'm there and I can talk to you, but mostly I'm alone. And I famously tell my husband, I'll be back in like 2 hours. And he goes, yeah, And, I'm back like 6 or 7 hours later. And I have no concept that much time went by. I should know by like the pile of stuff I have, but I don't. So I had to train myself to listen to my body. So as soon as I have a symptom now, I drop everything. I go in and then I come back like after 6 when it's cooler, and then I clean up or do what I need to do. And the other thing I do now, and I really wasn't going to do this, but I realized I can't be carrying these 50-gallon buckets up to the house anymore. It's uphill and it's not that close. So I bring wheels of some sort down with me so I can ride back up. I also bring a towel so I can jump in the creek, take my clothes off, and not have to put wet, icky clothes back on. But having wheels to go back up in was a big thing. So I am spending less time in the beds, having less beds than I used to also. And that's why I'm switching to more of a tourism teaching model than not really doing herbs by the pound anymore. It's going to be hot like this. So we just gotta, I'm not willing to give up the gardening. I live for that. So I just have to work around it. I used to lose 20 pounds every summer because I really wasn't eating much and I was sweating a lot. I do meal planning and I make sure I have like good quality foods that are ready for me so I don't have to first cook when I get back. I have stuff ready for me. That's what I've been doing. And I feel better other than today. In general, asthma is not related to my workload. It's related to dust. My husband decided that today was the day to vacuum. So it just got to me. Hopefully, my goal is to do this well into my 80s. And I'll be 67 this winter.
We sleep more. I know that sounds crazy. Last summer was probably the last year that I will ever work as many markets as I did.
Oh my
And
God.
I had an episode at one of my markets, and I'll be honest, to this day, I still don't know how I got home. I was so hot. Like it took me days to cool down. And I'm pretty sure it triggered some things happening with my blood pressure and stuff like that. It was awful. And I'm still dealing with. So I decided this year that I wouldn't do that. But just where we live, we kind of live in the woods. We have huge trees that cover the house. And we only have a few windows that allow a lot of light in. Like I'm looking at mine right now. But the trees still have leaves on them. So this house stays real dark. And in our bedroom, especially, we have one little window, just one. So it can be noon and it's pitch black in our bedroom. I mean, it's crazy. But I found, especially on the days that are super hot, we keep it pretty cool in this house. And I don't know. I just had to follow my gut and sleep more because I'm usually up at the crack of dawn. It has made the biggest difference. It's totally against who I am. But I guess as I've gotten older, I just have to sleep more. Usually, all these years with kids young and running around, I could function on, well, I say I could function. It's all caught up with me now. I could function on really, not that much sleep. I could go to bed late, get up super early and keep going. But now I've just got to sleep. So I typically stay in bed till like 9. Isn't that awful?
No.
Dude, some days
Right.
I feel terrible about it, but I feel so much better when, especially on the days that it's super hot, taking that time for myself and then drinking as much water as I can. I don't know if this is just an American thing, but I think as a human species, we struggle with drinking enough water. And especially in the morning when we're so dehydrated during the summer, I really have to focus on that, or I just crumble when I go outside. So that's what we do. We sleep more, stay cool more.
Yeah, so someone who gets up at before 5 every morning, yeah, that's nice.
We did that for years. The kids, I had to take them to AB Tech for the last 3 years. And we would have to leave so early, get up so early, leave so early to beat the traffic. I think my body's just saying, okay, you're sleep deprived. Time to catch up or consequences. So, I mean, our whole, I guess, society is just rush, rush, rush. I mean, especially in the last few weeks, people have been driving like crazy. I can just tell everybody's so busy and so just not focused and distracted. And I just think that, when your body's saying, don't go out in the heat, sleep, drink more water, you should do it. You should absolutely do it. That's part of self-care, just listening to to what your body tells you need. Because not every season is going to be like this. Not every summer am I going to want to sleep it away, you know. But there's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff attacking us every day. We just got to pay attention and listen.
The thing I struggle with is that I know what to do to take care of myself. I just can't always do it because of work constraints, societal constraints, and it's hard. So I just want, it's good to know. It's important, but sometimes, and you should do what you can.
Right.
Definitely.
Because I haven't always been able to do this.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously,
Right.
We're at a place now where I can, but, take advantage of it when you can, try your best.
Yeah, in the middle of the day and then wake up and have our big meal, like 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
Yeah, because it definitely impacts my health. I know. I can definitely tell, and even if you're like, oh, I can go, like, I keep going, go, it's like it's later on it may catch up with you, and it's really important to try to listen to your body. I think that's the most important. If you can go, but maybe, if you listen, your body might be like, hey, maybe stop a bit or something like that. Like it's just because I don't think we're taught to listen, or it's, I don't know. I think it's also considered weird.
It is. Yeah. You feel bad.
You feel weird. You're like,
especially in my generation and even my mom's generation, you just don't do that. But it's not, you said something just now. It may catch up with you. No, it will. It will catch up with you. So, you just kind of have to look at it that way, and do the very best that you can on the times that you have off, that you can, rest and just do nothing. Absolutely nothing. I saw some, do you know that gal that was on, I can never say her name correctly, but she was on the Big Bang Theory. She was Sheldon's girlfriend, Malik. What is her name? She's like this scientist. She's like amazing, this woman. But
she played Blossom.
No, yeah. Her. She did this whole thing on
so cool.
sitting. Yeah, she's so cool. Sitting and doing nothing. Like, start off small. Start off like 10 minutes. You're just sitting in the moment. You're not reading. You're not looking at your phone. You're just resting your mind, doing nothing. And it is like meditating, but you're not like, going through the whole thing. But, and try to work your way up to 20 minutes. And like the difference that you have, your brain capacity and your brain function like completely changes. But it's hard. It's hard to meditate and do things like that. But I think it's very important, especially for women, to really take that time for themselves.
You go to the Y, you go to the sauna, and there's a sign, no cell phones in the sauna.
Yeah.
So of course, you know what happens. There's cell phones in the sauna, and I just like, these people will just pop in and they'll be like sitting in the sauna, and the rest of us are sort of like, dude, no cell phones. Just chill out for a minute, man.
We're addicted.
It's nice to have a space where you don't have any of those screens and stuff like that, and they'll totally be there when you're done. It does make a difference, but I always laugh and giggle, and also the part that says you're supposed to wear clothes and not everybody wears clothes, which is totally fine, but I'm gonna rat anyone out. Oops. I wear some clothes because I wet down my shirt. Because it's hot.
Now I need a glass of sumac lemonade.
Put Lori back in.
Yeah, where'd Lori go?
Oh, her computer died.
Hey, what you got there, Byron? Is that something? Is that some hooch?
No, just water. I've not been hydrating like I need to, and I've just been drinking water for the past 2 days.
Oh yeah, on the self-care piece, water definitely. I've been really enjoying. Well, several of us this summer and last summer got dehydrated at different times. Kind of like what Lori was saying at a market, but just like in the hot sun. But I love that handmade. You almost crave it, just like an electrolyte you do yourself, similar to what y'all were talking about, the fireside honey. But do a little honey, do a little lemon, put a little salt in it, a little water, and whatever other herbs you want.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's great to stay hydrated. And then just some body care. I've been making that my ritual for summer. Also being more consistent with exercise. It's really helped my mental state. Lori, I really appreciate you saying that about sleeping a little more, because I've been more tired this summer than any other.
Yep, me too.
Yep.
All that busyness catching up with us, Jeannie.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, it's right. That's right. I had one of the hardest Augusts I've ever had in my life. And now it's September, and I keep thinking, well, why are you so tired? Why are you so tired? You didn't do much today. I didn't, but I survived August.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I'll have a hard week, and then I'll have a weekend, and I'm still tired on Monday, and I'm like, why am I still tired? Because I was still tired from the week before.
Yeah.
Yep. I think we're going to wrap it up with quotes, some favorite quotes about summer. I unfortunately didn't have time to pull one, but I think some of us had one.
I love the sound of crickets so much. In summer, summer makes me think about crickets. I don't even know. I just quickly wrote it because I'd copied and pasted, but then I realized, oh my, I'm on my phone. I can't see what I copied and pasted. Thinking about crickets, the crickets felt it was their duty to warn everybody that summertime cannot last forever, even on the most beautiful days in the whole year. The days when summer is changing into autumn, the crickets spread the rumor of sadness and change. E.B. White.
Oh, that's really cool.
That's beautiful.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I have one as rest as the theme. Rest is not idleness, and to lie sometimes on the grass under the trees on a summer's day, listening to the murmur of the water or watching the clouds float across the sky, is by no means a waste of time. John Lubbock.
Perfect. Perfect.
I've got a little bit of a poem by a woman named Misty Skaggs, who lives up in eastern Kentucky. The granny witch said going barefooted is good for me, and I believe her. Though it's tough to keep my eyes from rolling around in my head when folks start trying to tell me to get grounded. I ain't never left the ground to begin with. I'm rooted real deep, dug in. But this witchy woman with a hex or two close to her heart, I believe her, because I know how powerful it feels when there's fresh, turned dirt between my toes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes.
Very good. All right, mine's kind of on the same theme as Jeannie's. To say it was a beautiful day would not begin to explain it. It was that day when the end of summer intersects perfectly with the start of fall. Ann Patchett. And I think we had one of those days the other day.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yep. So I want to thank all of our amazing guests today. Everyone's links will be in the description, so please check out everyone's websites and Instagram pages. I want to encourage all of our listeners to go out and enjoy what's left of the summer. You can follow us everywhere. You can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We have a YouTube channel, a Facebook page, and a Facebook group. We're on Instagram and TikTok. If you'd like to support the podcast, please follow us. Also, if you'd like to support us with your dollars, we do have a Patreon, so the link will be in the description. We are going to be doing we're going to start doing some in-person panels here. So if you're in the Asheville area, you could have a chance to see us live and unedited. The first one should be around in November. So, but there'll be more details. We don't have any more details yet. So I'd like to thank everyone.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Right. Sweet dreams.